People often say that they can't describe how they feel, or if you ask them what they mean when they say something or when they experience something, they can't find the words to properly articulate what it is that they are experiencing. The question that I have for you goes further than simply vocabulary that people have. It goes further than that. Do you think that words and our language is able to fully encapsulate and fully capture that which is the human experience?
I don't think so. We try. Sure try. We sure try. And I do believe that some poets come close, very, very close.
Mm-hmm.
But I think words, listen, if you if you love uh, somebody, okay, and you say I love you, what are you saying? It's so mundane. You cannot capture the whole experience of being in love with those words. You see what I mean? And you can put all kinds of passionate words here and there. Will you ever be able to express what it is that you feel? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's a constant quest, maybe, of the poet and of the artist and probably the musician too. It is to express as much as possible for them, for each artist to try and capture that. But
Right.
I I don't up to now anyway. There's a poet called Shelley. I mean, a lot of people know Shelley. According to me, man, oh man, he comes close. Some people, but not all of the poems. I mean, lots of his poems are okay, whatever. It's well written, but but there are some, whoa, they just grab you. And some people find that in Blake. Some people find that in, I don't know, other poets, lots of other poets. There are some wonderful American poets too. Um, but it's like reading a poem of being next or in front of a mountain and actually being in front of the mountain. It's not the same.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's really possible to express as much as possible. No, as if it were real. But then if you are sensitive and you read a poem, you almost don't need the mountain because you know what he's talking about. It can bring back those experiences of being in front of a mountain, let's say,
Right.
poetry or writing. I mean, I love paintings. Do you know Bruegel? I just love him. Oh man. But it's like it's like I look at his paintings and whoa, I can see so many things in there. But that's what he does for me. He doesn't do it for everybody, but he does it for a lot of people. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, from my point of view, and for poetry, I don't think that words can actually express everything. But sometimes, sometimes it's close.
So maybe words are not designed to capture the objective reality of that which is the human experience. Words are an abstraction.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Words are a high level abstraction of our experience. So, like you said,
Mhm,
the word love you can break that down into a ton of different things. It might mean anything.
mhm,
And this is also where a good novel, for example, comes in, because a novel is just a bunch of words aligned in a very specific, organized in a very specific order, but together they form this story, and that story doesn't serve us objective human experience, but it serves us a subjective um, image, and a vision, a story, an experience that which we can still experience in our own way. So that example about that mountain that you
Mhm.
we you and I, we both know what a mountain is. But if we read exactly the same story about a person going to a mountain and climbing to the top and overcoming the hardships during the climb to the peak, your vision of that is going to be different than my vision. But the essence of it, the adventure of going to the top of the mountain, that's the abstraction. That's both for you and for me. That is true.
Mhm.
But the way that we see it and the way that we hear it and the way that we experience that which is our human experience is different. So maybe words are not designed to serve you and me the exact same experience, that which is the human experience. Maybe the human experience is subjective and is open for interpretation, and words are like the gateway to reach that, to facilitate that image to come forward in each other.
Yeah. And I think that's why translation is so difficult because if you take a Russian novel and you translate it to English or French or whatever, you don't capture the essence of the Russian psyche, the Russian mind, the Russian culture, everything. I mean, you can read a Russian novel in English, of course, everybody can, and still get a lot out of it. But there's always some pieces missing, I guess. That's the way I see it. It's hard for me with fiction. Um, I don't like fiction. Um, Most of the time, I did belong to a book club at some point, and fiction, fiction, fiction. I don't know. It's like you have to enter in the mind of this author who is going to take you on a ride, on a story, and he's got these characters built, and then he makes the characters think, and then oh man, I just can't go there. I just can't go there. To me, it's I know there's life lessons in novels. There's beautiful descriptions. There's supposed to be a lot of psychology and sociology and whatever. You can understand the world better. But I don't know. It's something that I find definitely boring. It's not like philosophy or, nonfiction books where you actually search for meaning. You really want to understand what what these people are really thinking. But fiction, sometimes I get, well, I don't read fiction. I did read some for a book club, like I said, but it's not my cup of tea. Let's put it that way.
Fair enough.
What do you think? I think sometimes fiction too, they go on and 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 on just to let you know that here, like you take the brothers Karamazov, okay?
Mhm.
I mean, I see the point. I know, but I mean, it could have been said, you know, in 2 or 3 pages, and it's like, ooh. So I don't know. It's difficult for me, but
Mhm.
I know so many people who love fiction, but
Yeah, I think I will be one of them.
you do. Well,
Um,
there you go.
yeah, yeah. For me, good stories, um, whether it's from a book or from a video game or from a film or from a story that somebody tells. Um, I think fiction allows us to go on allows us to go on adventure in a very creative way,
Mhm.
um, where we where we maybe deal with things that never objectively happened, but that are still very interesting to explore and still very powerful in the stories. They tickle our imagination,
Mhm.
and I think humans have they have incredibly strong imaginations. It's absolutely insane to think about what people can come up with. Um, there's wonderful stories out there, and these stories are not just interesting for you know for their for the steps that they take and for the adventures in them, but they're also interesting for how they weave people together, for example, in the stories, or creatures together in the stories. They're interesting because it allows us to step outside of the boundaries of our existence,
Mhm.
right? Because let's say we love stories about dragons. I'm not particularly a big fan of dragons per se, but just as a extreme example, dragons don't exist, at least not for as far as I know. So, re- having experiencing the story about dragons and what they how they rule the world, for example, and how everybody is praising the dragons and how that interaction comes together and how society in
Mhm.
that specific format operates and what problems may arise and what conflicts between different human communities and those sort of things. It allows us to step outside of the boundaries from our human existence. And I
Mhm.
think it's very interesting to explore in that way because I don't think there's a difference between reading a story or watching a film like The Lord of the Rings or something like that and imagining something yourself. I think they are very much aligned. And one is done by yourself and one is being interpreted. So that's, there's a difference in where it's coming from. But the end result is the same. Well, kind of the same. It's this experience of that which objectively may not be true, but is still, yeah, to some degree, I will say, enriching.
What if I told you,
Hmm.
the myth of the dragon and why the dragon was placed in fairy tales or adventure fiction? Whatever.
Please, yeah.
No, no, no. Okay, so the dragon is really there as a danger to people, but also as a protection.
Hmm.
You see, like if the village or the town did not have a dragon, it would be easily captured. It would be easily, you see. So you have to live with danger because a certain danger will protect you. So let's say you know that now. You know that you've read the myth of the dragon and so on. Uh, you see, that's the way I approach things. I don't read stories. I want to see, oh, okay, why would they write a story about that? And try to go to, you know, what, as you say, tickles the imagination, um, but not with the story, but just with why would somebody put a dragon and what are dragons for? And you go and check it out, in the books of mythology and
What specifically is it about words and about language that you love so deeply, that you care so much about?
it's like the possibilities of words. It's endless. Words can make you say horrible things, they can destroy you, they can also love you, but they are amazing. I have two sons, and the youngest was diagnosed with schizophrenia. You don't even know that he's sick. His body is there, but there's somebody in there that is not your son.
I have a question for you, but if you feel that that question goes too far, or if you don't want to answer it for any reason whatsoever, please let me know.
If you have something that happens that is tearing you apart, and you can just turn to God and say, "Oh man, that hurts. Why did you do that?" I don't judge it. I think that people that have faith are very lucky. Maybe life is easier when you believe.
What you and I are having right now is not a conversation about poetry. It's a conversation about the human experience, your human experience. That is a beautiful story. That is a story very much worth telling. And I think you've really told that story very beautifully today.